Well, it's great to be with you all on another Monday morning. Last time we spoke about Noah, and we talked about how he built the ark, even though it was 120 years before he ever saw even a drop of rain. So he continued to work in expectation of God's faithfulness to his word and how important that was. Today, there's another perspective I want to explore. You know, in order to do that, we also have to put ourselves in the position to experience God's faithfulness in a situation. Let me explain. Let's look at Nehemiah and see this in action. Nehemiah 2, 1 through 4a says this: In the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes, when wine was brought for him, I took the wine and I gave it to the king. And I had not been sad in his presence before. So the king asked me, "Why does your face look so sad when you are not ill? This can be nothing but a sadness of heart." And I was very much afraid, but I said to the king, "May the king live forever. Why should my face not look sad when the city where my fathers are buried lies in ruins, and its gates have been destroyed by fire?" And the king said to me, "What is it you want?" So what I want you to see here is how Nehemiah creates an opportunity and puts himself in a position where he is presuming again that God is going to be faithful, but if he doesn't put himself in that position, if he doesn't create the opportunity, it doesn't allow for him to experience that faithfulness. So as royal cupbearer, Nehemiah was often in the presence of the king. We know that. And he prayed for God to grant him success in approaching the king. But he has to be careful. Why? Because it was this king himself, after all, who made the decree that forbade the people from rebuilding the city. And he created this whole crisis. So he's basically asking the king to reverse his own word. And he has to be very careful how he does this. So as we saw, he started by mourning and fasting and praying. He started by putting the glory of God first. And then according to the months mentioned, we can see that he did this for a period of at least 4 months, waiting for the right opportunity. Now, during that 4 months, I am sure he was in the king's presence many, many, many times, because he was always there whenever the king dined, whenever the king had guests, whatever. He waited for a celebration, for a time when it was likely that he would have the opportunity to make this request and the king would be in a frame of mind to be positive. Now, as the cupbearer, it was his duty to always be cheerful and add to the liveliness of the party. He was supposed to be sort of the fun guy that kept spirits up. And Artaxerxes must have known Nehemiah very well because of all the time they had spent together. So instead of being upbeat, he goes in this particular time and he's sad. He's letting his sadness show. And the king notices that he's disturbed about something. You see how Nehemiah, there was lots of times he could have talked to the king, but he knew better. So he created an opportunity, he created a moment for the king to ask him, for the king to reach out and say, Nehemiah, what's wrong? And to ask him about his troubles. And then he tells him what's going on without mentioning Jerusalem, of course, for fear that the king would remember his earlier decree and would just reject his request out of hand. So this whole thing was orchestrated by Nehemiah with the sense that if I can just create the opportunity, I've prayed for God to give me the ear of this man. Now, within this opportunity, God can show me his faithfulness. I thought about that and I thought, how often do we pray for something but then never put ourselves in the position to give God the opportunity to show his faithfulness? In other words, we pray for things, and then we sit back and we wait for God. We say, okay, I want this to happen, God. Now show me that you can make this happen. I want this to happen over here, so God, why don't you show me something and then I'll go do it. Perhaps we're praying for reconciliation with someone, but we pray for a reconciliation, but we never create the opportunity to be in the presence of that person, to talk with that person, to have the opportunity to effect that reconciliation. We ask God to help with a challenge, but we never step out and undertake the challenge. We ask God, show me a sign, or help me find a way, or do something to show me to go forward. We don't just move into it and say, here's the opportunity, God, now you show me your faithfulness. It's like asking God to help you win a battle, but then never actually entering the fight. Then you're never going to give yourself the opportunity to experience the faithfulness of God. I'd like you to think about that in your prayers today. I'd like you to meditate on that and ask yourself, what am I praying for? And in praying for that, am I just sitting back and asking God to do something, or am I putting myself out there? Am I saying, if I put myself in this situation, I trust God to show me his faithfulness in this moment because I've prayed for it? I believe if we do that, we will give God the opportunity to demonstrate to us how trustworthy he is. And we will feel his glory and his strength in ways that we maybe wouldn't have if we just stay back and don't give ourselves that opportunity. Nehemiah created many opportunities over many months, but he didn't take every one of them. He waited. And when the right time came, he was ready. Are you ready? Jump in and give God the opportunity to show you how faithful he is. God bless you and have a great day.